What's up? We're back. What's good? Today we're going to be talking about black hair. So I'm going to get right into it. Also, side note, housekeeping. So school has started and we're really in the swing of things with this, all this stuff. And I do now have a job, which is great. So I will be uploading every other week because I really want to make sure I'm pushing out quality content and not just trying to push stuff out quickly just because, I'm trying to get stuff out. So I will be coming to you every other week, but don't worry, I'm gonna still be coming to you. Hopefully maybe when school is over I can get back to every week. But yes, so we're gonna hit the intro and we're gonna get right into it.
A nigga can't do shit for me. If he could barely do it for himself, on my grind it's like masturbation. How the money flowing, cause I make that shit come with no.
Thank you so much for being here. So like I said, today we're gonna get into black hair. So starting off just with a little bit of history, Madam C.J. Walker, we gotta start with this queen. So she was actually the first self-made, and when I tell y'all she's truly self-made, not like some others, but truly first self-made black female millionaire. And y'all, this is a real deal because this woman was born in 1867 and died in 1919. So Madam C.J. Walker is the first millionaire because she helped black women use hot combs to press their hair, to do something different with their hair. A lot of times black women only really were able to wear their hair natural or in a wig. And even then, wigs weren't even like that much of a thing until a little bit later, but still people were wearing wigs and mainly their natural hair. But then Madam C.J. Walker was like, okay, well, how about we give y'all another option? How about we give y'all the opportunity to straighten your own hair? Now, a lot of people actually think that Madam C.J. Walker invented the hot comb. I was told this, like I was really told this is what she's known for, but technically she didn't. Turns out the hot comb or hot curl, hot rod, whatever, was actually invented by a French man named Francis Gretou. Yeah, it's French. But he invented the hot comb or hot curling iron and things like that. It was mainly for white women who had a little bit of frizzier hair. They wanted to make it straighter. So it was really, that's technically who invented the hot comb. But Madam C.J. Walker invented the pressing oil that made it easy or usable for black women on our hair. And she kind of introduced the hot comb kind of to black women, I'll say. So yeah, so whenever you hear someone talking about Madam C.J. Walker, I mean, you can let them say she invented the hot comb. I'm gonna give the woman the cred, but technically she didn't. But again, she invented the oil and she invented means for black women to use the hot comb successfully and like started a whole thing for black women. So yes. So another reason why Madam C.J. Walker, her influence is just so huge is because once she really introduced the hot comb and pressing oils and all these things like that, it was a wrap. Like it was like, all right, black women now have something else to do with their hair, and pressing it was like the main thing that black women did. Obviously, yes, maybe some black women around these times, and I mean all the times after. So she passed away around almost 1919. And then basically from like the 20s on, even still to this day, but kind of on, black women were just really pressing their hair and continuing to wear wigs, I will say. So this is again when like straight hair for black women kind of came into the picture. Black women having options with our hair is revolutionary and it's powerful because, we are really like the only people who can really do a lot of different things with our hair, like a lot of different styles. We can manipulate it and it'll bounce back, like things like that. Now, I will say around the 70s, I do think natural hair was a little more embraced because we have like the disco era, we have the Black Panther movement. So black hair, was, I think afros, that's when like afros was like a real thing. Again, not all black women did this, but some were encouraged to rock their natural hair as seen as beauty. And that was, amazing. That was revolutionary, because obviously for a long time it was straight hair, wigs, figure out a way to make your hair straight, or like if it's going to be curly, it needs to be like the big loose like Farrah Fawcett curls if you can do it. But this was like, no, like black hair, we're gonna have it in a nice little afro, men and women, and it's gonna be beautiful. So the 70s was like, I feel like the first wave of natural hair, but it was like afro, and then we get into the 80s Reaganomics, and then we kind of lose it a little bit. Now the early 90s, I will say black hair was like popularized a little bit more, but then again, so was straight hair equally. But like I feel like that's when you have like, you know, the little cute cornrows that like Beyonce used to do, Alicia Keys, you know, we have like cute little, I don't know, like cute little braided styles. So I will say in the 90s, I feel like that's when like black protective styles were kind of a thing, which was really cool. So then a little bit, I would say maybe between 2010 and like now, I feel like that's when the natural hair movement on like YouTube really took off. So when I say natural hair, I think it's good to give a definition, by the way, so I'm going to do that. So there's a lot of ways to define natural hair. So when I'm talking about natural hair, I mean usually one of three things. So the first thing would be any kind of protective style. So that means braids, twists, wigs. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't really consider like someone wearing a wig as like their natural hair. And I mean, yeah, sure, maybe their natural hair isn't out, but I would still consider that person to be rocking like natural hair, because I know that under that wig, their hair is probably, I mean, maybe it's natural, maybe it's like pressed or whatever, but it is their natural coils up under that wig. When I started these videos, I had crochet braids. That's another protective style that I really like. So yeah, so that's, to me, still in the realm of like natural, the world of being natural is protective styles. So the second thing I would classify as natural hair is just literally like my hair right now, like natural coils being out. And there's usually three classifications of natural hair. The texture and the differences are based on how curly your hair is, like the literal curl in it. So they range from like 2 to 4 and then A through B. So 2A, 2B, and 2C would honestly just kind of be like wavy hair. Like, you know, one obviously would probably be like if your hair is straight, just like bone straight naturally, but then like, yeah, the 2s might be like naturally wavy and 2C might be like really wavy. And then 3A to 3C would kind of be more of like the loose textured curls. There's the 4s. So 4s usually cover like the kink 4A, B, C, and even D. 4 covers the most kinky textures. Usually that curl texture is just like very, very, very tight. My hair is 4B, 4C. Some areas are actually 4A, like in the back it's kind of, it's looser. And then on the sides it's like definitely 4C, and then everywhere else it's kind of 4B. So like for the sides, for example, if you look at it, my curls are pretty tight. They're pretty, oh, I'm showing y'all all my secrets, you know. I really love y'all for that. But yeah, so my hair kind of covers all the 4s. But so these are the different classifications of natural hair and just wearing it out, whether that's shorter, longer, whatever. And the last classification would be locks or sister locks. Now, usually people say dreadlocks, but in the natural like hair community, natural movement, people are actually getting away from saying dreadlocks. So the term dreadlocks actually has a negative connotation because of the word dread, and obviously see the word dread is, you know, having a great fear or apprehension about something. That could be taken to mean that the hairstyle is bad. So people actually, you know, try not to, but people actually don't say try not to say dreadlocks anymore. We just say locks, or and then regular locks or sister locks, which are smaller versions of locks. There's like a lot of different variations of locks. So those would be the three classifications I would assign to someone having natural hair or being a part of the natural hair community. Now, my personal experience, you know, so my mom grew up pressing her hair. She grew up in the 70s, and her mom, you know, would press her hair. Obviously there wasn't a lot of knowledge around how to do natural hair. So then as a result, you know, me growing up early 2000s, my mom pressed my hair. So I literally never saw my hair natural. Like, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, no, I thought natural hair was like what your hair looked like just like when you wake up in the morning, but not like, I didn't even know. So that's why I was so far removed. And years later, my mom, you know, apologized, and she was just like, you know, I didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't know of how to do your natural hair. I didn't know about other styles. I didn't, and I'm like, you know, it's okay, like, because now I can really embrace my natural hair. Whereas, you know, before I might have gone to school and been teased and felt, I don't want this, you know, which is wrong. But it's as a young girl, you know, you want to just fit in. And as a parent, you know, you want your kid to, you know, be called cute and, you know, look like the other pretty girls with the, you know, hair like that. And I don't know, it sounds bad. That really does sound bad, but it's the cost of assimilation sometimes. And I just say I don't blame my mom in any way, and I don't blame any parent who's just like, this is what I know how to do. You know, my mom is just like, I had straight hair growing up, so I know how to do straight hair. And you know, if I'm taking care of you, I want to make sure, you know, it looks good, you know. So obviously now there's YouTube and things like that and ways to embrace natural hair, and I'm glad that parents now have the resources to know how to do their kids' natural hair, but it wasn't always there. So I grew up obviously pressing my hair, and then eventually I permed it. And then after I left high school and kind of got to college, that's, I feel like, when the natural hair movement really, I don't know if it took off at that point, but I feel like it became like bigger at that point. And I will say that a big reason was because of YouTube, like, you know. So a reason that black hair is seen as unkept or, you know, not, you know, seen as correct is because it is 100% opposite from white hair. Really, like, I feel like that's really what it is. You know, it's this, you know, I feel like people put certain labels on things that are seen as deviant or out of the norm. You know, black hair is my hair grows differently than, like, you know, someone whose hair grows straight down. So because of that, because of that notion, I mean, that people have in their heads, because of that, they make weird little rules, weird little connotations having to do with black hair. You know, for example, you know, a couple years back, Zendaya wore these beautiful faux locks on the red carpet. She wore this beautiful dress, and she looked so good. And then I think some commentator on like Extra was like, oh, like, you know, her dress is pretty and she's pretty, but like her hair, like what's up with her hair? It looks like she's about to go smoke some weed or something. She looks like she smokes weed or something like that. And which was like, what, you know? But a lot of, you know, obviously negative connotations are tied to black hair, and it's problematic. It's 100% problematic. And it's the fact that, you know, black hair will never be able to assimilate, like, no matter what. Like, yes, sure, I can straighten my hair, I can wear a wig, but that's not how my hair naturally grows. It's different, and there's nothing wrong with it being different, but it just is. So a lot of times that's seen, and people attribute bad things, you know, with that. I also think, you know, when in the 70s, when black folks were wearing their natural hair, and a lot of people then felt the excuse to then say, well, if you're wearing your natural hair, then you're probably a Black Panther, which means you're violent, which means, you know, that's wrong. And I feel like this, honestly, still today, like, I feel like there's ideas that, like, black women who wear their natural hair are, like, radical and, like, all these things. And I'm like, you can wear your natural hair and be the most problematic person in this world. You can wear a 28-inch weave and be on the front lines. You know, like, it's, you know, it's really just a style. Like, now, if you have some self-hatred, that's you having self-hatred, but that shouldn't really be played out in terms of how you want to wear your hair. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later. So in terms of discrimination against hair, so California was actually the first state to officially ban discrimination based on hair. Weird, very weird that this was the first time that it's weird that this had to be a rule, in my opinion, because I'm just like, what? Why does this have to be a rule? But obviously it does have to be a rule. And it's wild that not every state has done it. So far it's only been California, New York, and New Jersey. Those are the only 3 states that have officially banned discrimination against someone based on their hair. That means if I go to work, you know, and I have my natural hair up in a natural professional style, because I do think there are ways to wear your hair professionally, you know, whatever that means. But there are ways, so no, at least it's not like in your face or whatever. If someone were to go to work wearing their natural hair, you know, they couldn't be told to go home and change it. You know, they can maybe advise, but they can't be fired or let go, which was definitely happening because they wore their natural hair out. Maybe they had locks, maybe they had braids. So New Jersey did this 1 year after this boy who was in a wrestling match, tournament, whatever, and he was black and he had locks. And basically they said that your hair couldn't be out during the match. So instead of just saying you can't compete, which would have been discrimination, this woman, white woman, took it upon herself to put her nasty hands in his hair and cut his dreads off, which was wild. I'll put some pictures. And this, honestly, like, I mean, people already talk about it, but like, it was really disturbing. And the reason it was disturbing for me to watch is because, you know, I have natural hair. And my mom has sister locks, and she has to go every couple weeks, pay money to get it retightened. You know, it takes a long time. It hurts sometimes. It just takes a long time to really have your hair grow. And knowing that this boy like went through the work of like having locks and like took care of them, went to the loctician every couple months, got them retightened, you know, just put all this time and love into his hair, and for someone to just cut them off, it was just so like, dang. It's like, imagine you're just growing like a plant for 5 years or something, and then somebody just cuts it off. It's just sick. But yeah, so a year later, whatever though, but New Jersey officially decided that there's no discrimination based on hair. So now I'm gonna get into tips. It's kind of gonna be just pretty general, like don't discriminate against someone based on their hair. And I want to actually point out, it can be something as big as like, you know, your hair is unkept, you know, and that means you should be fired, as big as that, or as small as, you know, something else like, you know, women who wear natural hair are this, women who wear straight hair are this. And this is something that I honestly actually see even within the Black community. And I feel like for people outside the community, I feel like I'll hear a lot of white people be like, well, you know, if you are Black and you're wearing straight hair, that means you want to be white. First off, no Black woman ever has walked into a hair salon and said, please, I'd like to purchase that Oklahoma, or I'd like to purchase that Nebraska. They don't say that. We don't say that. We'd be like, can I get that Brazilian, Indian, Malaysian, whatever? And none of those countries are white countries. So that statement alone, factually, geography, whatever, is false. And a style, like I said, a style is just a style. We can switch it up. So we might want to wear straight hair for a while. So that would just be my general first tip, would just be don't have any assumptions about someone based on like literally how they wear their hair and what their personality might be like. And another tip, or just something to really encourage, just for those girls out there who have some, you know, who do have some maybe self-hatred they're holding on to, who are afraid to wear their natural hair, like that would be a big tip right now. Just like let that go as best you can. You know, right now there's a lot of really cool, you know, opportunities or ways to learn more about natural hair. Obviously YouTube is always there. There's articles, blogs, you know, pages on Instagram. Like there's a lot of resources. And you know, don't be afraid to wear your natural hair on a date or to your job or out to the club. You know, your natural hair is beautiful, and the way you wear it and how you feel about yourself, I think will radiate so much more. I remember I was like, a long time ago, someone I knew was like, not everyone looks good with their natural hair, and I was just like, no, that's so wrong. Because I'm just like, it's your natural hair. You can always look good. You may still be learning about ways like to style your natural hair, or, you know, how you want to wear it, how you want to rock it, how you want to feel comfortable in it. And that's fine. But, you know, to say natural hair isn't for everybody, or, you know, some people look better without it, like let that go. Because it's just false. It's just false. And you really have to feel comfortable in your natural hair. Like, I will say that. Like, you know, you're not just going to wake up and be like, I'm good. You have to wake up and be like, okay, let me style it in a certain way and feel really confident about it. At least that's what I've experienced. Having had my natural hair out for some time, having never ever touched my natural hair, and now, you know, embracing it and loving it, that would just be the biggest tip. Find, you know, styles and things that you like for yourself and wear those styles, and, you know, be happy in it, and that will radiate more than anything. So that is for the most part all I have to say. Again, I'll be coming to y'all every other week, so, you know, have a good week time, you know, stay safe, keep washing our hands, be Black and prosper. Black knowledge is Black power, and I'll see y'all soon.
I told him, look, baby, I'ma get to you, but right now I gotta handle my wealth. Then I threw some change at him, little kiss on the cheek, then I put his ass back on the shelf. He ain't really like that.